Hi, SJM Teams. Melanie Mochetle here, your SJM coach at Common Good. And through our Together for Justice events, our citywide SJM team meetings, we always want to have some sort of testimony or inspiration for you to take away. What we had hoped to do when we were all together today, to have Sandra and Rene Oris. They're members at Common Ground Constantiaberg, and they have intentional ministry in the community of Mannenberg. They have been there for years and years, and Sandra's originally from Mitchell's Plain. She'll tell you a little bit about that. And they're also involved in prison ministry with Hope Prison Ministries in Paulsmoor. They do a healing through art program, and they've converted a double-decker bus into a ministry location. So they drive this bus into Mannenberg. Everyone from the community knows who they are and what they're doing. So it draws the kids. There's a computer room up top where they can do tech classes. There's a barista station at the bottom as well, where they do coffee and just have a place to have conversation with the community. So their presence in that place is known, it's trusted, and they do some really important work. So we wanted to ask them a couple intentional questions, not specifically about their ministry, but about neighborhood impact. So listen in.
Good day, everybody. My name is Sandra. This is my amazing husband, Rene. We are married 16 years now, and we've been living and working in South Africa for the past 8 years. I'm originally from Mitchell's Plain. We met in Germany and lived abroad, and now we are back here and working in Mannenberg, and Constantiaberg is our home.
And I just want to ask them a couple questions. So my first question to you is, can the local church really make an impact in neighborhoods?
Yes, so I will answer that question. Yeah, I think the local church can make a huge impact in the community. And I think just by the fact that the local church, just by being in the community, we are bringing God's presence into that community, and we are bringing light into a very dark place. And just by us being there, being the local church, being in that community, we can make a difference already. But I also think at the same time, the Bible speaks about, we being the light of the world, and we're going to dark places, and we are making the place where we are in Constantiaberg brighter because God's presence and God's people are there. But as we also know that the church is not one specific building, that we as Christians, we are the church. And I think also, as Don reminded us a few weeks ago, how we can also make that more practical by inviting people. People come to Constantiaberg, to our church, to find a spiritual home, but how we can also open our homes and be the church, and having a safe space for people where people can talk, where people can share, and we just make yourself available in your home, whether you meet there for coffee, make yourself available for God to work through you. So, yeah.
So, maybe I can add on that as well.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, it is not so much the question actually whether the church can make an impact in neighborhoods, impact can make a difference there. I actually think the church must make an impact in the neighborhoods, and just be an agent of change in the area, right? Another question is whether the churches are ready and prepared to do so. Because, to be honest, I think someone will impact the communities, will impact the neighborhoods anyway. So if it is not the church, then someone else will do that.
Yeah.
But in that case, the church might lose its relevance, actually. Right? So I was a bit reminded of the story of Esther, when Mordecai approached her and said, hey, if you keep quiet both with words as well as in your actions, at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows, perhaps you made queen for such a time as this. Yeah? And I think if the church does not make a difference in the neighborhoods, in the communities, then there is a problem, right? And I think one of the important questions is maybe not even so much how could that look like, how could neighborhood impact look like, but also what what do we mean if we speak about neighborhood, right? This morning during my devotional time, I was actually reading through Luke 10. It was the story of the Good Samaritan. We all know the story, and there Jesus was asked the same question: who is my neighbor? And he answered, hey, it's the person that to whom you show mercy, right? And I believe that in a church context, that there are basically at least 3 different areas of influence. That is your family, it's your home, it's your maybe your working place, right? Where you individually as a Christian live out your faith, and where your lived out faith will have an impact on social justice as well. Then secondly, there is the direct and wider geographical area where your church is located. In our case, it would be Common Ground Constantiaburg, where we as a church collective can make a difference. But I believe it goes wider than that. So the third area, and I think that is really vital, is that we need to identify needs and pain beyond our own neighborhood, right? If we as Common Ground want to, because Rigby and the leadership, they always put it so nicely, that they say we want to spread the good news of Jesus wider into our culture and deeper into our city. And it's said beautifully, but I think it means also that we have to deal with the needs and the pain that so many parts of our city do experience. But it's just so real, right? And it could be that the culture in these areas is maybe different than our culture, and maybe it might be a bit uncomfortable to face these kind of things, maybe even painful for ourselves. But I think it's so important. So many churches, they are very inward focused, and I understand that. I think it comes natural that we look into, what are the needs of our members. But I also think that we also want to have a strong outward focus as well. And we as the local church are the hands and feet of Jesus. So if we don't make the difference in our neighborhoods, someone else will. And I believe we can do that.
Yeah.
I love that point. I love thinking about someone's going to influence, and I hope it's the church. I hope it's not the gangs. I hope it's not those that want to take advantage. I hope it's those that want to share it. That's good. That's really good. What's your advice for those of us interested in looking more towards neighborhood impact when we are released? What should we be doing now to help us once we can be sent?
Try to, first of all, trust God, right? That He is still in control and that He has good plans, and He can use bad situations still for a good outcome, right? And He can, get our attention, and people can really maybe starting to listen, starting to search God as well. Maybe it can open up doors as well. Amid of all the pain that there is, and the uncertainty and the chaos and the questions that people face. We as a team, we try to really use this time of lockdown, as long as we cannot go out, to really intentionally see God's face, right? To spend more time in prayer, to hear what He is saying. What is our response going to be in this situation, to this unique new challenge? And what is God's strategy? Because we can have a lot of ideas, but we want to hear what are God's ideas, and to use this time not only to bond with family and to do some work from home, but also really to intentionally see God's face for whenever He might open the doors for us to go out again.
I think for me, like also I miss going to Manenberg, and when I heard the lockdown, my first thing was like, how am I going to get to the people? But at the same time, I just say, like, God, we have to trust you. You've put us on lockdown, so we just trust the process. And we really pray for divine strategy, like how to move forward after this.
Okay, great. Well, I was just thinking, you've reminded me of what we've been preaching about so much in Common Ground, is that this year is about becoming the people who we need to be. And we can make plans, and we can, say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z when I get out, but things may be very different when we walk out of our homes. So that's good. That's really good to really trust that and pray. Okay. So, Sandra and Rene, we know that you guys are full-time ministry workers, and there's a lot of people like you or retired people that volunteer consistently in places in our city. And from the SJM perspective, but also as a member of a Common Ground church, how can we support people like you that are involved in community work?
as far as the social justice ministry teams are concerned, I think part of the job description, right, of us is to inspire both our pastors as well as the church members, right, to inspire them to get involved, but beyond the occasional project. It is good to do projects, but sometimes it's also a bit too easy. Sometimes we can be almost a little bit too comfortable in, I would almost say, outsourcing social justice to maybe having just a few professionals doing it, like Common Good. They do an outstanding job, amazing. But the temptation is sometimes there that we as the social justice ministry teams just inform the church about things that are happening, and the church members then give a donation, and that's it. Or maybe occasionally, once a year, once a term, are involved in a project. And that is awesome and that is important, but I think it could go so much further as a normal church member, just being present with the people on a regular basis to really build relationships, to be in for the long haul, right? And just for the ministry, for the social justice ministry teams to find maybe creative ways. How could that look like? How could we as a church as a whole be relevant in the community? Because at the end of the day, it's about being relevant, making a difference and a change in the community. And I think as far as the church members are concerned, it starts with allowing God actually to, as we sometimes sing in one of the songs, break my heart for what breaks yours, right? To allow God to break our hearts for what's breaking his.
And it doesn't have to also be so complicated, or it doesn't have to be, I don't know, it sounds sometimes harder than it is. Like, I think also like asking us questions, because if you know the situation in Manenberg is not good, but you can still ask questions, not to go there and fix it, but to share the spiritual load or baggage, you want to call it that, of what we are carrying, and also to encourage and to motivate, like people to say, like, because sometimes you do feel like, is this really going anywhere? But to encourage the long-term workers to go on, and in that you can also pray for them and just let them know that, you feel what they are feeling, and just being there, I think. And that is sometimes difficult, just to ask that hard questions and not to be afraid of the answer, because you don't have to fix it.
No, I think that is true, especially that part of listening and asking questions. Sometimes if you're a full-time worker, you have a lot of challenges, and sometimes you just need to speak about them as well, with the questions, and to listen, and then again also to network. You guys, you are probably incredibly connected with, maybe you guys have exactly the context that the full-time workers that they need, because certain things you don't have to be such a professional, right? At least not a spiritual professional, but you can just make your time, your love, and your skills available. When I just think of the bus in Manenberg, for instance, we can do with all different kind of people, right? We need prayer and intercession above all else. I personally believe breakthrough in the communities will come on a spiritual level first, right? So you wrestle in the heavenlies for breakthrough also in the physical. And you can do that by sitting on the bus and praying, by doing prayer work in the communities, but you can also do it from home. You don't even have to be there, but really just be on your knees and intercede for the people. And I think through prayer, through consistent prayer, long-term, you build also a love for the community. Right?
I think that's what I'm reminded of, that this is about not just building a relationship with the neighborhood, but those that are called to that neighborhood. And so for us to know you and know our worker that's in the field is so important, because once we start knowing you and your ministry, you're right, our networks, our connections, we can meet up. We don't have to be physically there with you, but to support you in prayer, to support you in connections. I think that's beautiful. And that's kind of what I was hoping you would say as well, is that, I've always had a passion for just making sure people are seen. And if you know that people in your congregation see the hard work that you're doing, not because you want a pat on the back, but because you're in this together. I think that's just cool.
And I think also, just to add on also what Rene said, like, there is a place in God's kingdom for every single one of us. Doesn't matter where we come from or what's our skill set, there's a place. And the question is, do you want to have that place? You know? And I would just like a little encouragement, little testimony. Like I met this amazing friend now, but it was just a lady from school that I met, and our kids were in the same class. So we met and we connected, and she's from Tamburskloof. She not too familiar with Manenberg, but she's from Tamburskloof. But through this time we met and we became friends, and she invited me to a prayer group, and we prayed together and we did Bible studies together. And these amazing ladies, which we are so different in our background and you know what our different walks of life is so different, but these amazing ladies, they've been asking me questions about Manenberg, and I'm telling you, Melanie, these ladies, they have such a heart for Manenberg, and I don't think they've been there, but they pray for Manenberg. I've seen ladies, they are just, their heart is just break. They just crying before God for the people of Manenberg. And through this also, one, you know, another lady from Tambus who started, you know, just cooking a cooked meal for our Healing Through Art group on a Wednesday. And she's a part of that, you know, and I think there's a place for each and every one of us, and God can use what we put out there for him, you know, like the boy with the fish and the bread. God can use what we put out there and he can multiply. So for us, it's just like, do it. I think we miss out so much if we don't open our hands to God. Use, and you know, we don't have to be afraid, because he's not going to overwhelm us, you know, he's not going to say, now come grab you and I'm going to pluck you here in the heart of gangland. No, he's going to go on our pace. And that's what I love about our Father. So that's just an encouragement to the congregation, to everyone. Like, God has a place for all of us, and he's such a gentle and good God. And when we allow him to do something, he can we can have an impact in our community and beyond. And an impact greater than we can ever imagine.
And the beauty of it is also that, you know, it's said that South Africa is one of the most unequal countries in the world, right? And we just saw practically ourselves how Tamburskloof, so upper class, wealthy, and Manenberg, which is so different, that these two worlds were just slowly but surely getting a little bit closer, coming together. And there's so much beauty in that.
Great. Well, I feel inspired, and I wish I weren't on lockdown. I would jump out right now and go minister in my neighborhood. But thank you guys for being with us, and just want to thank you for all you're doing and loving Manenberg.